Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today we have a very special video, and I have to say, this content was essentially created by you. After our last video on guinea fowl, the comment section absolutely exploded. And not just with thank yous, it opened a real Pandora's box. As I read through hundreds of your experiences, I realized something important. While we all agree they are biological machines for pest control, there is a massive divide in this community. On one side, we have myths that sound like they came out of a science fiction movie. I saw comments, some joking, some genuinely concerned, suggesting these birds might be poisonous because of what they eat. On the other side, a fierce ethical and culinary debate erupted. Are they untouchable pets, or are they a gourmet delicacy? And, perhaps most concerning of all, I read dozens of frustrating stories from people who invested their hard-earned money, bought a flock of guineas, released them on their property, and literally watched them fly off into the sunset, never to return. If you have ever wondered if it is safe to eat them, if you feel guilty about cooking them, or if you are tired of your birds deciding to move to your neighbor's farm or sleeping in 50-foot trees where owls feast on them, this video is for you. Today, we are not going to cover the basics you already know. Today, we are responding to the community. We are going to debunk absurd myths with biology, we will resolve the ethical dilemma with gastronomic facts, and most importantly, I am going to teach you the foolproof method, the expert breeder's secret, to anchor these wild birds to your coop so they never escape again. Let's bring some order to the flock. Let's get started. I want to start by addressing the comment that made the most noise. One user, perhaps joking or perhaps repeating an old rural legend, mentioned that he, quote, lost his life to their poison. Others quite seriously asked, if this animal eats a scorpion for breakfast and a rattlesnake for dinner, doesn't that venom make the meat toxic for human consumption? It is a logical question. In nature, bioaccumulation is real. Some animals do store toxins from their prey. But I have to be absolutely categorical about this. The guinea fowl is not poisonous. Let's explain the biology behind this so you can rest easy. The guinea is a bird native to Africa, a hostile environment full of dangerous insects and reptiles. To survive, evolution gifted them with an armored digestive system. It is not that their meat absorbs the venom, it is that their system neutralizes it before it ever reaches the bloodstream. When a guinea eats a scorpion or a small snake, that food goes through an extremely aggressive mechanical and chemical digestion process. Their gastric juices have a highly acidic pH level designed to break down chitin, bone, and complex proteins, like venom, in a matter of hours. Snake or scorpion venom is essentially just a protein structure. If that venom is injected directly into your blood, it kills. But if it is ingested and passes through that acid bath in the stomach, it is denatured and simply becomes nutrients. Therefore, guinea meat and their eggs are 100% safe. You will not find toxic residues in them. In fact, it is quite the opposite. Because of that diet rich in wild proteins, bugs, and diverse plants, you are looking at one of the cleanest, most nutritionally dense meats you can produce on a homestead. So please, let's wipe that fear off the map. They are not toxic. They are simply survivors with stomachs of steel. Let's move on to the second point that set the comment section on fire. Two very clear camps formed. The Friends Not Food camp, arguing that they are too intelligent and useful to be eaten, and the pragmatic camp stating, they are delicious, and the meat is a luxury. Who is right? The reality is that both points of view are valid, but it depends entirely on the objective of your project. Let's first analyze the gastronomic value, because there is a lot of misinformation here. If you raise commercial Cornish cross broilers, you are used to white, soft, mild-tasting meat. The guinea is nothing like that. Gastronomically, the guinea fowl is classified closer to game meat, like pheasant or partridge. It is a dark red meat, extremely lean, meaning very little intramuscular fat, and it has an intense, earthy, deep flavor. In countries with high culinary traditions like France or Italy, pintade is a celebration dish, a luxury item that costs 3 or 4 times more than conventional chicken. Nutritionally, it has higher protein and lower cholesterol than chicken. So for those asking if it is worth raising them for the table, yes, you are producing a gourmet category food right in your backyard. However, I completely understand the pet camp. The guinea is not a common chicken. They have a complex social structure, they communicate constantly, they often form monogamous pairs, and they have very distinct personalities. Furthermore, their function as biological pest control is so efficient that many farmers consider them worth more alive than in the pot. If a guinea keeps your yard free of ticks, which transmit Lyme disease to your family and dogs and keep snakes away, that bird is paying its rent with service. My verdict is this: there is no conflict. You can keep a breeding flock as your untouchable guardians and pets, and raise their offspring specifically for meat harvest. Respecting the animal implies giving it a dignified life, and, if it is its destiny, a quick and useful end. Both visions have a place on a sustainable farm. Now, let's get into the technical side. This is the #1 problem I read in the comments. The story is always the same. I bought adult guineas, brought them to my farm, released them, and the next day they were on the neighbor's roof or sleeping in the top of a 50-foot tree, and then an owl ate them. The fundamental error here is treating the guinea fowl as if it were a domestic laying hen. They are not. They have millions of years of wild African instinct running through their veins. Their natural instinct is not to walk into a cute wooden coop at sunset. Their instinct is to fly as high as possible to avoid lions and leopards. If you do not reprogram that instinct, you will lose them. Here are the 2 definitive solutions that professional breeders use to prevent them from becoming feral wild birds. Solution A. The Broody hen method, the golden secret. Several expert subscribers mentioned this, and they are absolutely right. This is the most effective technique, with a 99% success rate. The trick is, do not buy adults. Buy day-old keats, baby guineas, or incubate fertile eggs. And here is the magic. Do not raise them alone in a brooder box under a heat lamp. Find them a foster mom. Use a common broody farm hen, a silkie, a bantam, or a gentle layer that has gone broody, and place the guinea eggs or the keats under her. Why does this work? Because of imprinting. Guinea keats are born with a blank hard drive. If their mother is a domestic chicken, they will copy her behavior. The domestic chicken does not fly into high trees. The domestic chicken walks on the ground and, most importantly, the domestic chicken walks into the coop every single evening at dusk. The guineas will grow up believing they are chickens. They will stay close to the house and go inside to sleep under a roof, following their mother. It is the easiest way to anchor them to your land without effort. You are hacking their wild instinct using a domestic hen as an anchor. Solution B. Retraining, if you already have adults. Now, if you already bought adults, not all is lost, but it will require iron discipline. The mistake people make is releasing them after 3 days or a week. That is not enough. An adult guinea needs 6 weeks of total confinement to recognize a new home base. You must keep them in a closed coop where they cannot see the outside, or a covered run, for a month and a half. During this time, they must associate that location with 2 things: safety and high-quality food. Only after 6 weeks can you release 1 single bird. Guineas are pack animals. They hate being alone. The one you release will not leave because the rest of its family is locked up inside screaming. That bird will explore and come back. The next day, release 2. And so on. If you open the door for all of them on day 1, the stress of the move will make them fly, and their instinct will scream, "Flee and find height." To close the technical feeding section, I want to answer a question that came up several times. What is millet? This is vital if you are raising keats. Many people fail because they feed guinea keats the same chick starter feed they give to broiler chickens. That is a mistake. A broiler grows fast, but a guinea grows explosively. They need brutally high protein levels, 26% to 28%, in their first few weeks, much higher than a chicken. If you give them low protein feed, they get weak, develop leg problems like splayed legs, and die. You need to look for game bird starter, usually made for turkeys or pheasants. And regarding millet, specifically white proso millet, it is that small, round, yellow grain you commonly see in parakeet or canary bird seed. Why is it important for the guinea? First, anatomy. Guinea keats have tiny beaks and sometimes struggle to swallow cracked corn or large pellets. Millet is the perfect size. But second, and most importantly, millet is their irresistible candy. Guineas are absolutely addicted to white millet. If you want to train them to come back to the coop, never chase them. Simply shake a jar with millet inside. The sound and the taste will condition them. Use it as a bribery tool. Feed them millet only inside the coop in the evenings. They will learn that going inside the house equals millet party. It is the best management tool you can buy for very little money. Before we close, I cannot let you go without solving the million-dollar question that floods breeder forums and is fundamental to the success of your flock. How on earth do I know if I have a male or a female? Unlike chickens, where the rooster crows and has a huge comb, in guineas, sexual dimorphism is almost null. Visually, they are identical. Old books will tell you to look at the helmet, casque, or the red wattles. Supposedly, the males are larger and curved outward. But I tell you from field experience, that fails about 40% of the time. There are dominant females with huge helmets and young males with small wattles. The ultimate test, the only one that does not lie, is the ear. Here is the technical key. The female is the only one capable of making a 2-syllable call. Rhythmical. It sounds exactly like she is saying, buckwheat. Buckwheat. 2 distinct notes. If you hear 2 notes, it is 100% a female. The male never makes that sound. The male only makes a single note alarm sound, repetitive, fast and dry, like a machine gun, chi-chi-chi-chi-chi, or sometimes described as weet weet weet, single note. Why does this matter? Because of fertility. Unlike chickens, guineas tend to be monogamous or prefer small harems. If you have 10 males and only 2 females, you will have bloody fights and 0 fertile eggs. The ideal proportion for production is 1 male for every 4 or 5 females. If you do not learn to sex them by sound, your breeding project will fail due to excess testosterone in the coop. Fellow breeders, guinea fowl are fascinating birds, but they are not for everyone. They require you to understand their psychology. They are noisy, yes, but that noise is the best anti-theft alarm that exists. They are wild, yes, but that hardiness is what allows them to clear your land of snakes without getting sick. I hope this video has cleared up the picture. 1. They are not poisonous. You can eat them safely and enjoy a luxury meat. 2. They are versatile. They can be guardian pets or meat production you decide. 3. They don't have to escape. If you use the broody hen method or the 6-week confinement with the millet bribe, they will stay with you. 4. Keep them balanced. Remember to sex by sound, buckwheat, chi-chi-chi, and keep the right proportion. Thank you to everyone who commented, even the skeptics, because your doubts allow us to bring this real, technical content. Do not stay in doubt. Try these methods and watch your flock prosper. If this information helped you save your guineas and improve your homestead, hit like, subscribe, and please keep leaving your comments. As you can see, we read them, analyze them, and create content to answer you. To your success, my friends. Until next time.